Hello and welcome to our online class of social science. Dear students, today I will explain chapter number 6 of class 6th. Chapter's name is Kingdoms, Kings and Early Republic. This is a history chapter as you can see on the slide. Kingdoms, Kings and the Early Republic. It means in this chapter you might see that kings refers to the monarchy or the rule of the king, and the republic. Republic means where the head of the government, head of the country is elected by the people. These two different terminologies are given in this chapter. So let's read this chapter. First of all, see this content. In content you can see Janpada. These are some of the terminologies. About these terminologies we will discuss in this chapter step by step. Janpad. Here this terminology is having a meaning. Jana, this word has come from the word tribe. Pada, here it refers that foot. So features of Mahajanpadas. Maha refers the large kingdoms. There were 16 Mahajanpadas in ancient period after the Vedic age. Political organization of these people, how they lived, means what was the political organization of Mahajanpadas or these 16 Mahajanpadas. You might have heard Kuru, Gandhar, Vats, all these Magadh. These were the Mahajanpadas of that time. Taxation system, how tax was collected from the people. Varna system. Varna system, here it refers the caste based society. Then two important kingdoms are also discussed in this chapter. One is Magadh and the second one is Wazi. Wazi is a republic state. So let's discuss these points step by step. Here in the beginning of this chapter we'll start that there were some tribal organizations in the ancient period, because this chapter is beginning with one story of a boy, Shankran. When he woke up in the morning, he saw that his parents, his grandfather means and other members of the family, they were ready to go for the vote. They were ready to go to cast their vote in the election on the voting day. So Shankran was very excited that what is this election process, how we elect our representatives. Then his grandfather explained him that today we can choose our leaders, we can choose our rulers. Earlier this facility was not there. Earlier people had no right to choose their representatives or their leaders. So here in this slide you can see that tribal organizations changed slowly and gradually, because in Vedic period we had seen that there were some Janpadas, some small kingdoms were there. So those societies, tribal societies, means they started becoming a small kingdom called Janpada or a state. These Janpadas lived in Aryavarth. Here it Aryavarth, this Aryavarth refers to means where Arya people lived. As you all know that Indus Valley civilization people, they lived in the northern part of India, northwestern part of India near the Indus river. This Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Ropar, Lothal, Kalibanga, all these states were in Harappan civilization. But it is said that after the arrival of Aryans from the Middle East region, because there are different Theories about the arrival of the Aryas. Some historians they believed that they came from Tibet region. Some historians they believed that they came from, you can say, Central Asia. Means among them Max Muller's theory is most probably accepted by the people. So here the term Janpada, Jana refers to tribe and Pada refers to foot, means people of a particular area. Although this Janpad was a small kingdom, it was not a large kingdom, it was a small territory, and these were semi-nomadic tribal states. Earlier, before the Vedic period, means their boundaries were not fixed. These people they lived in groups. They were ruled by the Rajas. Although these Rajas in the Janpadas means they were not so powerful. There were many Rajas in these Janpadas. These Rajas or the rulers means they had no power. They had no, you can say, regular armies. But in the later stage when Mahajanpadas came, Mahajanpadas refers to large kingdoms. At that time kings they maintained large army and they paid regular salaries to their soldiers. Now see the political organization. First of all you have to understand the term monarchy. Monarchy means kingship, where a king ruled, means who was the overall authority of the country. That time they organized many Ashwamedh Yajnas, they organized Rajsuya Yajnas, they organized Vajpayee Yajnas. These were sacrifices or yajnas of that period. So they declared themselves powerful kings by adopting different titles. Some of them adopted Maharaja Dhiraj, then Tirubhuvan Pati, Chakravarti, Vikramaadityans, and all other titles were adopted by these kings. Magadh was one of the powerful state of that time. Here republican system, here it refers that states were ruled by an elected chief called Ganpat. Here Malla is one of the example of this republican system. The term republic refers to a state in which the head of the state, in which the head is elected by the people. That time there were four major varnas, as we have discussed in the previous slide about the varnas, that the varnas there were four, means these varnas were Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudras. We will discuss in the next slide. Taxation system. Taxation, here it refers that to establish the kingdom, administration of the kingdom, kings they collected taxes from the people. Taxes were on crops, taxes were taken from the craft persons, taxes were collected from the herders, taxes were collected from the goods which were sold and purchased in the market, meanwhile from the traders, taxes were collected from the hunter gatherers, etc. Means these taxes were usually, means this was 1/6 of the total produce, and it was also known as bhaga. King they imposed these taxes on the people. See the agricultural system of the people. Agricultural means farming. People of that time means they were doing farming, although major changes took place that in that period, Mahajanpadas period, that they started using iron plow. Iron plow was used by the people. This meant that heavy clay soil that was turned over by the people by the iron plow, and they began transplanting paddy this time. Paddy means this rice which we are using nowadays in our food, one of the staple food. So that paddy was used by the people of that time, and that time the important point to understand is that slaves, men and women, even the landless agricultural workers or the kamkaras, means they had to do the work in the farms for the other communities. So here you can see this Varna system means a group of that time, means it was not based on birth, although in the beginning phase when this Varna began in Vedic period, it was based on the birth, means those who were doing teaching learning process, those who were engaged in teaching learning process, they were called Brahmanas. Those who were soldiers and looking after the protection of the boundaries, they were considered as Kshatriyas. Then those who were engaged in agricultural and trade commerce activities, they were known as Vaishyas. And the fourth one means those who served for the other communities, they were known as Shudras. So there were four Varnas. Later on this Varna system became very complicated, and it started, you can say, on the basis of the birth, hereditary. These are the four Varnas: Brahmins, who imparted knowledge; Kshatriyas, they were rulers; Vaishyas, means they contributed to trade; and Shudras, those who were slaves, who were slaves who were denied entry into the mainstream. They were not given any right in the society. Here we have one important kingdom in this chapter, that is Magadh. Magadh or Magadh, it was a powerful Mahajanpad which was situated in the present Bihar region on the bank of river Ganga. It was very powerful kingdom of that time. It gave some important rulers like Bimbisara, Ajat-Satru, Ashok, Mahapadam Nand and all. Means they established their capital on, you can say, in Rajgriha, and later on Patliputra also became the capital of this Magadha kingdom. This was one of the powerful kingdom of Nanda rulers and other rulers of that time. So a ruler named Alexander, means he was from Macedonia and he wanted to become the world conqueror that time, but he could not conquer these areas of India because the soldiers of Alexander also, they were afraid of this Magadha ruler. Means at that time Ghanananda was ruling in India. Means they heard that Ghanananda had one of the powerful army of that time. Let's have a look on Wazi. Wazi is one of the important republic state of that time. Republic here, as I told you in the beginning also, that republic means a state in which the head is elected by the people. It was a powerful kingdom which had a capital of capital at Vaishali, under the different form of the government known as Gana. Gana here, this word is used for the group that had many members, or the Sangha. Sangha means organization. So it was located on the northern parts of Ganga. Even that time, in the Sangha or the organizations or the associations of the Wazis, women, Dasas and Kamkaras, means the lower Varna category people, means they were not allowed to participate in the assemblies of this Wazi. Both Mahatma Buddha and Mahavir Jain, means they belong to Gana or the Sanghas. If you have heard about them, means the famous Buddhist and Jainist founders, means those who gave their preachings for the upliftment of the people in the society. In the 6th century BC, Mahatma Buddha and Mahavir Jaina, means they flourished their Jainism and Buddhism. So about the Buddhism and Jainism and about the Sanghas, means detailed information is given in Buddhist books. In this chapter we have one information about Greece or the Athens, which is one of the ancient democratic country where first time democratic government was set up. Democratic government, here it refers that a government by the people, for the people, and of the people. In this country, Greece, around 2500 years ago, people were given some rights. They were considered as a citizen. They were given some freedoms. They could attend the meetings. They could appoint some of their representatives. They could serve in army and navy. So here it refers that they were given some of the rights, and later on people of different countries, they also, you can say, followed these principles of democracy, and they learnt a lot from these principles. I hope that you understood this topic. Thank you very much to be with me.